Leader of Opposition Business.
Thanks, Madam President. Again, let me add my voice in support of what the sweeping powers that has been conferred on the Prime Minister in this environment, and again to remind us of, I think it is in Luke chapter 12, verse 14, that states, to whom much is given, much is expected, and to highlight the need for us to safeguard, not necessarily from the ministers of government, but persons who may want to abuse such power in this environment. I think as we administer what we're trying to do here, and of course, I think some of it was well articulated by the leader of government business. We want to ensure that there's transparency, great transparency. Madam President, the leader of government business did highlight, of course, the contribution being made by the Cubans and as well as the people from Cayman Islands. Of course, that is welcomed, and I love to hear from the government business as they tell us in such plain and clear way as to how other persons are contributing towards this fight. And it is that transparency that we need to continue with as it relates to a House of Parliament or Senate discussing government business. Madam President, I would also like to echo that we consider sending signals to our people that they can trust what we say, because sometimes what we do or what people see happening speaks louder than our pronouncement in Parliament. So with all good intentions, a lot would have been said there, but just imagine, Madam President, somebody during the course of administering going out there and treat somebody badly and in a way that does not represent the essence of what being discussed. People tend to hear more of that than what is being said here. So our actions need to speak loudly. And for example, Madam President, if we're going to stop construction work going on, I'm saying that government need to lead by example and stop it work as well, because the government engage private contractors in administering of public sector work. So you would not want a situation where somebody, see for example, C.O. Williams is working, but Renault closed down, and the other construction companies have to shut down. The workers are interpreting it completely different to what we are saying and lose trust in us. So we need to ensure, Madam President, that we are transparent, that government set the example, that there's not the perception of abuse of any kind, Madam President. And if there is, that we can clear the air and say that the government is undertaking certain works and need to continue from consistent with our emergency situation, but not the situation where persons are saying, C.O. Williams are open implementing government projects and that other contracting firms have asked to close down. That sends the wrong signal. So, Madam President, the opposition is, like you've recognized, is very supportive. But the opposition must also provide a balance and highlight to the government in areas they may not consider because they are the ones implementing. And it should not be seen as politicking. And, Madam President, every time I use that term, I ask myself, it's so appropriate to be used, because at this point in time, Madam President, I think we are in a very solemn situation as it relates to what we're discussing. But for me, Madam President, I do not think I've taken lightly any contribution that I've made in this Parliament since the opening of Parliament. I speak from what I believe to be true, and there are times where I could be incorrect and I'm subject to be corrected, but I do not take lightly my contribution in this Parliament. So, not being perfect, every Parliament sitting, every bill, everything that we've brought to this House to discuss, it must be taken seriously. But this one is slightly different. It is one where our population is exposed in a way that they have never been before. And also the government is being given the latitude to have such powers that it has not had in the past. And then we're saying, as the people who are on this side, yes, but be mindful that St. Lucian's likely to misinterpret the powers if what they see is different from what is being said. So we are saying, let us all rally together, provide support to the government, support our police officers, support, but if we notice somebody is doing something wrong, we pull that person up and let that person know that this is not what is being endorsed by us, by the government, in the spirit in which this thing is being done. This is essentially what I'm saying. Let us, the firms who are out there, I know a lot of people are now not working. A lot of people had to shut down, construction companies. C.O. Williams, if C.O. Williams is the only one allowed to operate, let us send that information to the public so that they understand why C.O. Williams are the one operating in this environment and the other contracting firms are not. That transparency is also needed. So, Madam President, I wish to thank the people working at the front, leading this fight, leading this thing for us. I pray for the safety of our police officers, our doctors. I pray for the safety and the well-keeping of our senators and parliamentarians, especially the Minister of National Security that has a very important role. I pray for his safety and well-keeping. I do pray for the independent senators and yourself, Madam President, that God protect us, our people, our families from such a difficult time. Thank you very much.